This short presentation is to guide you through the requirements of the recipe logs, which forms part of the Sitting Guild's endpoint assessment process for both Commis Chef and Chef de Partie apprenticeship standards. The information on what needs to be included in the recipe logs is found in the endpoint assessment packs for Commis Chef and Chef de Partie accordingly. The links are shown here in blue at the bottom of the page to access the endpoint assessment packs. These are password protected, and the passwords are available from the walled garden once you've registered your apprentices with Sitting Guilds on either Commis Chef or Chef de Partie. This document provides you with the exact requirements of the recipe logs within the professional discussion task instructions for both employers and apprentices. You can also download the EPA pack from the EPA preparation tool. This slide shows Commis Chef. Appendix 3 shown here is found at the back of the Commis Chef endpoint assessment pack. This is a direct lift from the People First assessment plan, and we must have evidence to meet all of the required food groups here, as well as the preparation and cooking finishing methods. People First are our EQA body, so we have to maintain evidence of these recipe logs for them to sample when they carry out our EQA visit. All recipe logs must be independently completed by the apprentice, authenticated by yourselves if recipes are completed at the college, and by the employer for recipes completed in the workplace. The full recipe logs have to be uploaded to our EPA portal, which is our e-based system where you upload gateway evidence for us. It is therefore a good idea if these recipe logs are maintained electronically. If you are using either our paper-based apprenticeship training manuals or another paper-based version, you will need to scan all these into a folder and upload to the EPA portal. We cannot accept paper-based recipe logs, as our endpoint assessors use the EPA portal to access the recipe logs you upload and assess them from there. So, what needs to be included? Well, there must be full recipes covering each of those required food groups in Appendix 3. These must be of actual dishes, for example beef pie, not stewing steak. As well as a full recipe, there must be a time plan. This is not necessarily every minor detail, but a higher level one showing that the apprentice has produced the dish and could replicate it. Safety controls implemented also need to be documented. Lastly, there needs to be a photograph of the actual dish the apprentice has produced, so a copy of a dish from a recipe book will not suffice. It must be the actual dish produced by the apprentice. It is acceptable to upload recipes and methods from books or tutor packs, but apprentices do then need to add any safety controls they implemented and photographs of their own dishes. The other document which you must also upload to the EPA portal is the reference sheet, which is found in the recording forms pack. This is a word-based document, so can be typed into. Let's now take a look at that. So here on the left-hand side is the recipe log reference form. As I said, this is found in the recording forms document on the website in the same section as the endpoint assessment pack. Shown here is a completed example. It is compulsory that this document, or one that has the same content, is uploaded with all of the recipes to the EPA portal. The independent endpoint assessor will use this to ensure the minimum recipe log requirements have been met. This is also a useful cross-referencing tool, which could be used by the IQA to ensure that the minimum requirements have been met. As you can see in this example, they've added up the totals and can therefore show that the minimum range requirements have been met. On the right hand side is an example of a recipe log template. This particular one is available on the EPA preparation tool as an exemplar to show what we require in terms of content. Also on the EPA preparation tool is a Word version of the template, which is blank for you to populate should you wish to add logos and type content in. You may use any template you wish to, so long as the details of a time plan, recipe, food safety controls and a photograph of the apprentice's dish are met. So moving on to Chef de Partie. Here is Appendix 2. Again, this is from the back of the Endpoint Assessment Pack. This is our direct lift from the People First Assessment Plan. We must have evidence to meet 7 of the 8 food groups, which must include the first 2 food groups, meat, poultry and game, and fish and shellfish, as well as the preparation and cooking finishing methods. As with Commis Chef, all recipe logs must be independently completed by the apprentice, authenticated by yourselves if recipes are completed at the college, and by the employer for all recipes completed in the workplace. They have to be uploaded to our EPA portal, where you upload gateway evidence for us. It is therefore important that these recipe logs are maintained electronically. If you are using our Smart Screen Apprenticeship Training Manual, you can directly take the recipes from here and upload to the EPA portal along with relevant photographs. We do not, however, accept any paper-based recipe logs. So, what needs to be included for Chef de Partie? Well, there must be full recipes covering 7 of the 8 food groups. These must be of actual complex dishes. As well as a full recipe, there must be a time plan. This is not necessarily every minor detail, but a higher level one showing that the apprentice has produced the dish and could replicate it. Safety controls also implemented need to be documented, along with a photograph of the actual dish the apprentice has produced. So not a photographed copy of a dish from a recipe book. It must be the actual dish produced by the apprentice. It is acceptable to upload recipes and methods from books and tutor packs, but apprentices do need to add any safety controls they implemented and the photograph of their own dish. The other document which you must also upload is Appendix 4, found again at the back of the Endpoint Assessment Pack. The Chef de Partie log of dishes must contain complex dishes. Appendix 1 on the left-hand side, shown here, lists what complexity means. On the right-hand side is the recipe log evidence reference sheet, which is the other document which needs completing and uploading along with the actual recipe log templates to the Endpoint Assessment portal. This reference sheet can be found in the back of the Chef de Partie Endpoint Assessment Pack. This part completed example shows 2 sections. You can also use this reference sheet as an IQA check to ensure that sufficient evidence has been documented to meet the required food groups, as well as at least the minimum requirements for the preparation and cooking methods. Some providers have been adding up the total number of the preparation methods, so you can easily see that, for example, here under meat, poultry and game, that 15 have been covered. Here is an example of a Chef de Partie recipe log, which can be found in the EPA preparation tool under the exemplar materials. There's also a Word version, which is a blank document which you can populate and add your own logos to. This template covers the requirements of a full recipe, time plan, food safety considerations, as well as a photograph of the actual dish prepared by the apprentice. Whilst you don't need to use the City and Guilds example here, you must ensure that the content within the example is still available in whatever template you do use. The recipe logs form part of the professional discussion, so it is imperative that they are the apprentice's own work and that the apprentice can explain their reason for selecting the dishes and using them within their recipe logs. Also, where they were completed, e.g. college or the workplace. Having a copy of their recipes with them during their professional discussion would aid this. For Commis Chef, the discussion on the recipe logs lasts 10 minutes, then the rest of the professional discussion takes place. For Chef de Partie, the discussion around the recipe logs lasts 30 minutes before the rest of the planned professional discussion takes place. I hope you found this presentation useful. If you do have any further queries on the recipe logs for Commis Chef or Chef de Partie, please do contact me. Also, if you have any other queries on any of the hospitality and catering apprenticeship standards, feel free to email me on the email address shown on the screen. Thanks for listening.